So, Dr. Umar Johnson says, don't medicate your kids. Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logical Reason. And as always, I'm going to say thank y'all for joining me today. So I have another interview of a clip of the interview that Dr. Umar Johnson did on the Ari Not Sorry Show. Now, in this particular video, he basically talked about having your kids medicated in school with these psychotropic drugs because of being diagnosed by ADHD and all these other mental issues that the school systems comes up with.
Do not medicate your child with disruptive behavior disorder drugs. I'm telling you.
I agree.
No Ritalin, no Adderall, no Concerta, no Slyker, no Medicate. You know all these synthesized cocaine. Synthesized cocaine. If selling drugs is wrong, most of the prisons in Atlanta filled up with black men for nonviolent drug-related offenses, right?
Facts.
If you can do 5 years easy for a nickel bag of crack, how the hell can I give it to your son in school so he can sit still
And it's legal.
long enough to learn about Christopher Columbus? That's insane, right?
Right.
So if you get them tested for ADHD, conduct disorder, ODD, they're going to drug them. And if you try to take the kids off the meds, they're going to call child services. And child services will take your children from you. It's called medical neglect. It's one of the fastest growing reasons why parents are losing their children, because they get them diagnosed with ADHD, they get the prescription, they stop giving them the meds, they confiscate the babies.
Okay, I have to say that I agree with Dr. Umar Johnson 100% here, which is a rarity. I usually don't agree with him. Maybe a point or two I may agree with, but generally that's because he's always making things about race. Whenever he makes things about race, I disagree with him. But this is not a race issue. This is really truly a pharmaceutical issue, or the pharmaceutical industry. Now, let me say that pharmaceuticals aren't all bad, but I think there's way too much bad when it comes down to the pharmaceutical industry. I think that drugs, in my opinion, drugs should be the last resort. Unfortunately, that the pharmaceutical industry wants the drugs to be the first resort. And this is the issue that we have. And they're not interested in actually solving problems, solving your health issue. They're interested in giving you drugs that treats the symptom. And they'll give you these drugs that treats the symptom. And you take these drugs over time, and the drug cause other problems, which then they'll give you drugs to treat the symptoms of that, which will inevitably cause other problems, and they'll give you drugs to treat the symptoms of that, and so on and so forth. For instance, let's say somebody suffers from having bad migraine headaches because of something that they're eating, some chemical in the environment, some food, something that they may be allergic to that they're eating. The pharmaceutical industry is going to want you to take pain medicine for the migraines, not address why the migraines exist, but they want you to take their drugs. And you take those drugs over time, then it causes liver problems. And now they'll give you drugs to treat the symptoms of having a liver problems. And then the drug they give you to treat the symptoms of the liver problems over time causes you kidney problems. And now you have to go to kidney dialysis for the rest of your life. And I just don't believe that. I don't trust these people. And I haven't trusted them for a while now. This is why I have an issue with these drugs and basically giving these kids all of these drugs because they have something that's diagnosed as ADHD. It could be anything. Maybe the kids is a little bit more hyper than normal, but that's just normal. That's just normal especially for boys. So if the kid is a little bit hyper and they have a little issue trying to get the kids to sit down in school, I don't think drugs is an issue. And that's the thing that nowadays it's just the first recourse they go to now. They diagnose these kids, these child psychologists in these schools they just train now as a knee-jerk reaction to just start issuing out drugs and prescribing drugs to these kids. And I disagree with that. And I agree with Dr. Umar Johnson 100% here. So You know, I had that issue with one of my sons. They wanted to give him drugs, and I just refused to do it. Because like I said, this is back when I was starting to learn the truth about the pharmaceutical industry and learn the truth about these drugs, and I refused to do it. But like I said, I agree with him 100% here. These kids should not be given no drugs at all like this here. And this is one of the things that we as a society need to address. One of the things that I would hope Trump would, if somebody brings it to Trump's attention, because he's just the type of person to do it. He's not an establishment person. He's not a career politician. He was really a businessman who wanted to realize where America was going and know how to fix the problem as being a business person. And that's what he went into office to do. But like I said, I completely agree with Dr. Umar Johnson here, rarity. I completely agree. Do not let them medicate your children. Matter of fact, I guess you don't let them try to diagnose your child, because that's what they're going to try to do. In that regard, I give respect to him for that. If that's what he was doing in school, regardless if he was just doing it for black kids or whatever, but if this is what he was doing, then I will come in here for that action. But like I said, I agree with him. I suggest people not have their children medicated. Medication is not the answer. Anyway, like I said, that's my 2 cents on this, and it's a rarity for me to agree with this man 100%. But generally, when he's not race huffing and he's saying something that's logical, I'll agree, because logical people respond to logic. Anyway, y'all, as always, until next time.